The other situation, we spoke about our vice captain there, our captain, Son Heung-min. He has been linked pretty strongly with a move away. I think he's just signed a 1-year extension, or he signed it back in January. So his contract now runs until 2026. He's been linked with MLS clubs, Saudi clubs, I think clubs in Germany as well. And obviously we don't kind of know how he actually feels about a move to clubs like that. We did have Matt Law on last week, and he was saying that the sense from the dressing room and I think staff was that Son was saying his goodbyes at the club. It would just be interesting to get your take, Sammy, on kind of where you think Son Heung-min's future lies.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that he maybe goes to he leaves Tottenham, potentially to Saudi, by the close of the transfer window. Whether that happens prior to the tour, the pre-season tour, I'm not sure. I think there would be certainly an obligation for Tottenham to have Son in situ on the flight to Korea, given his standing back in his homeland and some of the kind of activation events that he will be front and center of there. It's an extremely lucrative trip that for Arsenal, for Tottenham, it always has been. So, but not to have your poster boy there, I think would there be some implications for that. So if he was to go, I suspect it will be after that. It will be after that trip. But I'm hearing that there is a significant chance that he leaves, potentially to Saudi.
Okay, well, Frank, it's not easy. I mean, is it for him? He comes in the job, and similar to Ange in a way, well, I say the star player. I mean, it's all due respect to Sonny. I think there's a wide recognition amongst Spurs fans that maybe the best days of Son are behind him. And I think what is really important, I think, is that I said this before on another couple of shows, that I want to see Sonny leave the club on a high. I don't want to remember Sonny for, again, another season where if Tottenham would have finished mid-table, he doesn't get the GAs that, Sonny, is capable of. Even when he got the scar on his head for lifting the trophy. There's just something unique and special to have seen Son lift that trophy with Tottenham, a man that has shown such loyalty throughout his time at Spurs. I mean, you'll notice, Sam, at a time when even Kane was linked time after time away, Sonny signed that new contract when Nuno was here, where there was arguments and maybe thoughts that he could have maybe left the club and gone on to better things, but he's always remained absolutely loyal to the football club. Do you think maybe in his mind he'll be thinking to himself, is there a better parting way for me to leave on the back of delivering, Tottenham's first trophy in 17 years, their first one in 40 years, and he's been the captain to oversee both of those things?
It would be the fairy tale ending, wouldn't it? And if I was Heung-min Son, I would think long and hard about that. I would definitely think long and hard about going out in style. And if he was to go out now, he would certainly be doing that. That picture that has just come up there, that will be the abiding memory of Heung-min Son if he does exit this summer. It should be anyway. Even if he goes out next season when his contract expires, you'd hope that if the season isn't as successful personally for Heung-min Son next season, mate, if he doesn't play as often as he would like, you would hope that Tottenham fans will always remember him for that. And I think you probably will, right? Regardless of how next season goes, if he's still at the club. But I do understand, and I do think that there are several people at Tottenham, figures at Tottenham, who expect him to have played his last game or last senior game of football for Tottenham. And obviously the proof will be in the pudding there. And again, it will be a negotiation for Daniel Levy and to appoint Vinay Venkatesham to solve. But I think if Heung-min Son was to turn around to Daniel Levy and say, look, I want to take this move, I think he's got enough credit in the bank with Daniel Levy that Daniel Levy will not be the ruthless businessman that we know he can be when it comes to Heung-min Son, and I think he will maybe perhaps lower his demands if Heung-min Son turns around and says, "Look, I quite fancy this. I quite fancy this deal in Saudi. Can you let me go?"
Do you think there's any chance on Thomas Frank's behalf that he might want to keep Sonny at the club, or might he looked at Sonny last season and thought maybe it is best if he does go part ways?
I don't know I've not heard anything on that, and but if you look at it logically, and this kind of high energy game that Thomas Frank likes to implement at the age of 32, is it 33?
Yeah, 32.
Sonny,
yeah.
32.
Yeah.
Is he going to be as relentless down that flank, up and down, as Thomas Frank would like? I'm not sure if he's still got that physicality.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would do on a sort of maybe like a match to match basis, but can he do that three games in a week? It's tough.
No.
For someone at that age. So maybe, I don't know this, but I'm just kind of I'm trying to take an educated guess here that if, given we know how Thomas Frank's teams like to play, you wouldn't necessarily put Heung-min Son on one of the flanks.
Another player as well that could potentially leave and has been linked. Another one linked with Saudi. Now, he has said in the past he wasn't keen on that, and that's Richarlison. Did a big role. I thought he was fantastic in that Europa League final. I mean, you mentioned there about Sonny maybe not working up and down the flank. One player, as I said, that really did that in the final was Richarlison. I mean, obviously, there's been real mixed feelings around his time at Spurs. Obviously, we spent a lot of money on him. I think it's 50 million plus 10 in add-ons. Is he another player that might leave Spurs this summer?
I haven't heard anything in particular and specific about Richarlison. He seems to be linked with a move away from sort of Tottenham ever since he joined. Even like that, even following that first season, it was he might go the season after, but he's always hung around. What I can add to that question though is that I do know that he the reason he hasn't been taken by Saudi in the past is because he wants to play top level football, and the riches are vast over in the Middle East, but he's already sort of paid handsomely, and I think he wants to play competitive football. I think he wants to be in a club in a team competing at the very highest end of European football, and that's the reason he went to Tottenham from Everton. He wanted that. He wanted to experience that. Next season he's going to have the opportunity again to sort of to play in the Champions League. So, if he does want to hold on again and he doesn't want to go, then I would fully understand it.
Well, it's a World Cup year as well, isn't it, with Brazil? So he'll be wanting to impress on that front.
Absolutely.
Yeah.